Okay, so yeah, let's start standing today. I'm gonna take this off because it is a hot one. It's like gonna be like 87 degrees today. So let's start just standing in our mountain pose. So you can place your hands on your hip bones if you want to align your ankles right under there. Lift the toes and intentionally place the feet on the mat. Then you can allow your toes to grip back down to the earth, just there for that extra support. And you can feel a slight tuck of your tailbone just to make sure you're lengthening your lower back. And feel your heart and chest area expanding, but just be careful that when you're doing that, you're not sacrificing the back of your heart. So you want the space between the shoulder blades and the chest to both be broad. So it's a very neutral chest. You're not like pumping it out or curling it in. And then your fingertips reaching toward the ground, which will lengthen the sides of your neck as the crown of your head reaches up taller. And take a big breath in through the nose. And as you breathe in, allow the crown of your head to lift up higher. And then as you exhale, allow your feet to ground down deeper. Just feeling that micro bend in your knees so that you're not stacking too much pressure on the knees. And then you'll start this practice with some tapping. So when you're ready, you can make a fist with your right hand and just start tapping on the left side of your chest. And we're going to really gradually start to open the hand and bring your left palm to face up and just start tapping down the arm. And you can even start tapping on the hand. And then you can turn the palm to face down and tap going up. And then we'll gradually make that to the other side. So you can start by the fist and then tapping down the arm on the inside and the hand, and then turning, tapping up on the other side of the arm. And then you can spend some time with your neck and your face area, but be really soft. You can even just use your fingertips for your face. And what this is doing is just bringing blood to the skin. It's bringing blood to the surface, just awakening. You can even do your head, the back of your neck, your shoulders, just kind of intuitively tapping. And just doing it across your whole body, making your way to your stomach and to your back, to your legs, your thighs. And then when you get to the legs, we'll go down on the front. And then you get to the feet, tap the feet, and then we'll go up on the backs of the legs. And then we'll do that one more time, but this time we'll go down on the insides and we'll go up on the outsides. If there's any other things you want to get out, maybe just shake it out. And eventually make your way back to your mountain pose when you feel ready. And just observe the difference between now and when we first started, if there is any. And then on your next exhale, it's inhale, sweep, or on your next inhale, sweep the arms up over your head and interlace the hands so that you're reaching really tall, and feel your feet and fingertips reaching in opposite directions. As you inhale, allow the bottom of your ribs to separate from the hips slightly. And as you exhale, just reach over toward the right corner of the room. So you're keeping the length in the spine. You're reaching more up and then over rather than just over. As you inhale, you can feel yourself get longer. As you exhale, reach a little bit deeper. Great. And then next inhale, come back up to center and just switch the interlacing of your hands so it feels a little funny. Then inhale to get tall, and exhale to reach up and over to the left. And just notice the difference in the sides of the body. Stay with your breath. You can use your Ujjayi breath here to help you. That slight restriction in the back of the throat. One more breath. All right, and then we'll inhale to reach back up to center. And exhale to cactus the arms and open up the heart. So your palms are facing away, your shoulders and elbows coming closer together, and put a slight bend in your knees. And really just feel the collarbone and heart area opening up. And then as you exhale, bring the palms to center, curl the heart back, and reach the palms away from you, reach the hands away from your heart. So do that a few times. You can inhale to open, kind of like you're flying, and you can keep the arms pretty bent if that feels good, or you can keep them long the whole time, but just like these standing cat-cows. So moving with your breath. As you inhale, opening the heart, and as you exhale, closing the heart, and just do that 2 more times. And then once you are finished, you can return back to center. Just let the arms fall and observe once again. Great. Now you can step toward the top of your mat if you're not there. And as you inhale, reach the arms really tall and get even longer, the longest you've gotten so far. And as you exhale, you can sweep the arms around and we'll swan dive, leading with your heart really slowly, making your way through a half lift and then down to your forward fold, where the knees are generously bent. The head is allowed to dangle, yes and no. And really focus on relaxing your lower belly and feel your lower belly kind of pull in and up toward the spine. And just feel how that creates just a tiny bit more space for you to hinge, a tiny bit more space for you to fold. And fully relax the forehead, fully relax your jaw, all the muscles of the face. Fully soften the shoulders, naturally allowing them to come closer to the ears just by gravity. And even with the knees bent, just feel your sit bones lifting a little bit higher. Feel the weight shifting on your feet. So they're slightly more toward the balls of the feet, but even on the inside and outsides of the feet. And feeling a nice stretch down the backs of the legs, even when the legs are bent, for 2 more breaths. Letting your breath really take you deeper to the pose. Focusing on the breath. On the next inhale, you can rise to a halfway lift. So you can picture a tabletop spine. Your heart feels like it's reaching forward. Perfect. And then exhale and release. Next inhale, we'll roll up to stand. 1 vertebra at a time. Sweep the arms out and up when you arrive. Reach up, get long. And exhale, the hands come to heart center. And it moves through some flows. Feeling your heartbeat, checking back in, maybe setting an intention. And on your next inhale, reach up, get long. Exhale, hinge at the hips, dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale and fold. Plant your hands down and step the feet back 1 at a time to your plank. We'll stay in the plank for 2 breaths. Heels reach back, crown of the head reaches forward, and the heart reaches forward. Perfect. You can slowly bring the knees down here if you need to, and then just bend the elbows alongside the ribs, and we'll slowly lower down in one piece to the mat. As you inhale, you can lift your heart forward and up, baby cobra, keeping that shin tucked. The hands are light. And exhale to release. You can plant the hands underneath the shoulders, and the elbows are pointing up toward the ceiling and zipped up really tight toward the ribs. And you can tuck your toes under from here, and maybe you gaze at the floor and push yourself up through a plank and then to your down dog, or maybe you come up to the knees and tabletop first. But wherever you are, we'll meet in our down dog. And allowing the knees to be bent as much as they need to be bent this morning. Focusing on getting your spine as long as possible. Spreading your fingers so wide so that you can almost feel the skin in between the fingers stretching. And being intentional in your fingertips, being intentional in the base of the fingers and the base of the palm. And just really paying close attention throughout this whole practice to your foundation. Pay close attention to whatever is making contact with the floor beneath you, because that is what is holding you up. And you can allow the energy to reach up through the space in between your sit bones. So it almost feels like there's a tiny arch in your lower back. There's not actually going to be, but that sensation as if there were. Feeling this wrapping of the shoulders. So your armpits almost feel like they could face each other, which will encourage the width of your collarbones and your shoulder blades. One more big exhale here. Feeling how strong you are. Okay, and then next inhale, bend the knees generously, look up toward the top of your mat and walk your feet or step your feet up to a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, root down through the feet to rise up through the hands, reaching up, maybe a slight back bend. And exhale the hands to heart center. Great, so we'll move through that one breath per movement a little bit quicker. On your next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips and forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine, half lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, step back, plank. Move through your vinyasa. You can lower halfway, chaturanga dandasana, into an up dog, or you can lower all the way and do what we did before to your baby cobra. Wherever you are, we will meet in our down dog. Awesome. 3 breaths in your down dog. Maybe you take a lion's breath, stick out the tongue, look up toward the forehead. Really just let it go. One more exhale. Great. And then on your next inhale, we're going to rise the right leg back and up and reach through the heel to start, and then point the toe and reach through the toe. And we're just going to keep doing that. So you can flex and point your toe and just notice how much that changes how it feels in your leg. First, you're feeling it more down the back of the leg, and then when you point the toe, it's more down the front of the leg. Maybe you take some circles with the ankle. Nice stretch down the left hamstring. One more breath in. And then as you exhale, use a cat spine in your core to pull your knee in toward the chest. Shift your shoulders over wrists and place the foot at the top of your mat. From here, we'll allow the back knee to drop down. Maybe you keep the back toes tucked or untucked, depending on what feels better. And first, we're just going to keep the hands framing your front foot and then fully relax your head. Let your head be as heavy as possible. And just notice how that feels on your left hip flexor, the front of the left thigh, how that increases the stretch there. Okay, and then slowly start to walk your hands onto your right thigh. And you can interlace the hands and bring them on top of the thigh. And then just start to push the thigh down and away as you lift the heart in the opposite direction. Awesome. And while you're doing this, feel your inner thighs coming toward each other. Feel some activeness in the legs, so you're not just dumping everything into the hips. So feel yourself lifting up. Awesome. And then you can bring your right hand to your right hip. And you're just going to reach across your body with the left hand and then hook that elbow on the outside. And we'll bring the hands to prayer here, if that's available. Perfect. And then as you're here, you're going to keep pushing your right knee toward the outside of the mat into the elbow as you push the elbow back into the knee. And then root down in the top of your left foot, so your back leg is staying active. Maybe you look back toward that back leg. One more breath. Great. And then come back to center, unwind, bring the hands down to frame your front foot. And we're just going to lift the sit bones back and up. So we're going to pause for a hamstring stretch on the right leg, straightening that out. And we'll do the same thing that we did in our 3-legged dog, where you can flex and point the toe. So you're just starting to really feel the difference. One's not better than the other, they're just different. And when the foot is flat on the mat, you're getting more of a stretch down the front of the leg. And when the toes are pointing up toward the ceiling, it's more focused on the back of the leg. Great, and then you can rebend your front leg. Place your hands to frame your front foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back leg up, and step back to your plank. Move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet in down dog. And maybe flutter the lips when you arrive. Maybe let out a big sigh. Great. And then next inhale, gonna raise the left leg back and up. And you're just gonna point and flex that foot again on this side. So feeling the difference in the stretch on the left leg, feeling a generous stretch down the back of the right leg. Stay with your breath, stay active in the hands and the arms, stay strong. And then next exhale, use your cat spine to pull that knee into the chest and shift the shoulders over wrists. And we'll place the foot at the top of the mat. You can allow your back knee to drop down, maybe the toes untuck if that feels good. And we'll pause here by fully releasing your head. Just see how heavy you can get your head, how heavy you can get your face. And just notice how that affects the right hip flexor. Awesome. And then you can slowly start to walk your hands to the left thigh and interlace them there. You'll start to push away from your thigh and lift your heart in the opposite direction. So the energy is mostly going up. So even with the legs, you can even feel your inner thighs coming together and your pelvic floor even lifting up. So you're not dumping too much weight down. Awesome. And then you can bring your left hand to your left hip. We'll reach across the body with the right arm and then hook that elbow on the outside. And for balance help, it's really helpful to look down at the floor. And then you can gradually start to look more in front of you and then maybe even behind you. But just keep that pressure, keep the knee pressing into the elbow and the elbow back into the knee, and keep the palms pressing into each other. And you can stay active in your back right leg too. You can root down intentionally in the top of the back foot. That can help. One more breath. Great. Then you can start to slowly unwind. Bring your hands back down to the floor around the foot. Lift your sit bones back and up to straighten out the left leg, and we'll pause for these hamstring stretches. So same thing, you can point and flex your left foot. But just moving intentionally as always, and just really paying attention to how it feels in your body and what feels better today, what feels just maybe not better or worse, but just different. One more round of breath. Awesome. And then can really slowly start to rebend your left leg. Plant the hands around that foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift the back knee up, and we'll step back to a plank. You can move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet in our down dog. Again, let it go. Let out maybe a big sigh, maybe lion's breath, maybe fluttering the lips. Maybe all of them. And in your down dog, really feeling your lower belly pull in and up. Feel that slight feeling of an arch in your lower back. Looks good. Okay, and then you can bend the knees, look up toward the top of your mat, and step or walk your feet to the top. As you inhale to lengthen your spine forward, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. This time we're going to sink the hips down and lift the heart up to your chair pose. Your arms can be alongside the ears for a little bit more of a challenge. But when you do that, notice how there's going to be a small arch forming in your lower back. And now we want to try to get rid of that. So you want to really tuck the tailbone down. So that's probably the hardest for the hands. You can also bring them to heart center. You can bring them to your hips. You can bring them wherever else they want to go. Just feel your inner thighs rolling in and up toward each other. Feel the strength of your sacral space in your legs. One more breath. Great. And then as you inhale, you can reach up to stand, and exhale, release the arms by your side. Take a moment here. Just pause and settle. Observe. And on your next breath in, you can inhale to reach the arms up. And we'll exhale to hinge at the hips and dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Plant the hands, step back to your plank. And this time we're just going to stay in the plank for 3 breaths. Feel your core working. Feel your strength of your arms, the strength of your shoulders, of your stomach. And then very slowly start to bend your knees and bring them to hover for a moment first. And then you can release into your tabletop. So maybe walking the hands back just a little bit so that the wrists are under the shoulders. And we're going to move through our cat-cows, doing that a little bit later than usual. So you can inhale to your cow pose. You can exhale the cat. You can go right into your free movements if you'd like. Playing around with the 6 ways that our spine moves. So we can arch the back in our cow pose. We can curl the spine in our cat pose. We can wag our tail for our side body stretches. And we can also take turns bending each elbow and looking over the opposite shoulder to get that nice twist. You can do a combination of everything. You can move at your own pace, listening to your own spine and what it needs today. You can also feel free to add the neck into some movements. Maybe you take turns bringing the ear to each shoulder, and you add that into your wagging of the tail motion. So you get an even fuller side body stretch. And just really not worrying at all about what this looks like. Just allowing your spine to feel this. And we'll keep moving for 5 more of your breaths. And just really practicing listening to you, listening to your body and the way you want to move. One more big round of breath, full exhale. And as you're finishing, you can come back to your neutral tabletop. And from here, we will leave the hips right where they are. And we'll walk the hands forward, melt the heart down into puppy pose. Oh, yes. Mom, you can shift your hips slightly forward, really slightly. Yeah. A little bit more forward. Just because so Mom, your hips they're going back toward the heels a little bit more like that, and you want it to be over the knees. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so the hips are staying over the knees, and the stretch will really be concentrated on the upper back. And just like in our down dog, feeling the energy reach up through the space in between the sit bones, letting your heart surrender fully. And from here, you're just going to turn and look underneath your left arm. So your right ear is going to come to the floor. And then just bring your right arm down and thread the needle. if it works. If that is like a really weird way for you to get into that, to thread the needle, then you can come in a different way that works better. Awesome. And you're going to notice that your left hip crease is going to want to come forward. So you really just want to keep pulling the left hip crease back, and that'll even out the hips. You can push into the ground with your left hand and look up toward the ceiling to deepen the stretch. You can keep the left fingertips reaching forward and keep that length on the left side of the body, and really just feel the hips and the fingertips reaching in opposite directions. You can reach the arm back behind your back, just whatever feels best. Great. And then to unwind, we're going to first, reach your left fingertips forward if they're not there. And then just turn your head back to the floor for a moment while leaving your arm there, and just feel that nice stretch across the right arm. And then pressing down through the left palm, you can lift up and unwind. Awesome. Oh, so back in the center at puppy pose, feeling the difference. And then as you're ready, you can make your way to the other side. So you can just turn to look underneath the right arm, or if there's a better way to get into this that you want to do, you can. Perfect. And just honoring where you are on this side. There's no need to go right to what you did on the other side. You can just kind of feel it out. And maybe you press into the ground with the right hand and look up toward the ceiling a bit more. Maybe you keep that right arm extended forward, but wherever you are, just keep that right hip crease reaching back. So it's kind of like a scissoring action of the hips, so that you really feel the space on the right side of the body. Great. And then you can start to reach the right fingertips forward if they're not there already. And then just turn your face back to look at the ground just for a moment while keeping your left arm where it is, so you can really feel that nice stretch in the left arm. And then when you're ready, you can press into the ground with the right palm, lift up slightly, unwind back to center, puppy pose. One more big breath. Breathe into the shoulders. So good. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone down, pull the navel in and up as you snake your way or wave your body forward into Sphinx pose. So we land with the pubic bone on the ground, and try to get the bottom of your rib cage to be on the ground. So walking your elbows forward as far as they need to in order to achieve that. And just getting comfy, and you can try out having your legs together or having your feet as wide as your mat, taking a bit of a wider stance, more of a crocodile type of pose. And then just being intentional in the hands and forearms as always, letting the forearms be parallel to each other. And even with the bottom of the ribs touching the mat, can feel like you could drag the floor toward your toes and drag your heart forward and through the upper arms. And the shoulders in a neutral position. The neck is long. And then you're rooting down in the pubic bone. And then as you do that, notice if your glutes are tensing to achieve that. And see if you can root down in the pubic bone and release your glutes at the same time. It's a little tricky. And if you are tensing the glutes, notice if that creates a pinching sensation in your lower back, because I know it does for some people. Or notice if it feels like it gives you more support, because sometimes that's more helpful or less helpful, just depending on our individual anatomy. And then as you inhale, let the crown of your head reach up toward the corner of the room, so where the wall meets the ceiling. And then as you exhale, look over your left shoulder, trying to bring your chin over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side, chin over right shoulder. And just do that twice more. Just making sure to keep moving with your breath. So as your body inhales, that cues the movement forward. And as the body exhales, that cues the movement to either side. And then when you are complete, you can meet back at center. Make a pillow with your hands and rest your head down. You can fully relax the hips. So maybe you just wiggle the hips side to side. Maybe you windshield wiper the heels. Maybe you bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs. And just release the lower back. Release the belly. Massage the belly. Great. So when you're ready, you can re-extend the legs down on your mat. Tuck the toes under. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Gaze is at the mat. Elbows zipped up tight and pointing toward the ceiling. Maybe you push up through a table. Maybe you push up through a plank. We'll meet in our down dog. Awesome. So from here, we're just going to shift your weight forward so that you're back in your plank. You're going to slowly bend your knees so that they come to the mat. So you're not quite in a tabletop, but you're kind of in like a longer tabletop. And then pull your right knee in toward your chest using your core, and see if you can, without using your hand, see if you can just use your core to place your right foot outside of the right hand. It might be really hard, but yeah, cool. So we're coming into our lizard pose. So you can adjust your stance as you arrive. You can heel toe that foot forward a bit. You can extend or tuck the back toes under and extend that knee longer and then place it back down. All these little adjustments you can do. And then take a peek at your right foot. Your toes can be facing forward. It can be at like a 45-degree angle facing out. You can be even rolled onto the outside edge of the foot if you really want to get into that hip deeper. You can also allow yourself to unfold into the different versions of the pose as we are here. So you can stay on the hands with the hips heavy and the heart light, kind of more in like a cobra spine-ish, or you can come onto the forearms at any point, onto the floor or blocks. And just notice what your back leg is up to. You don't want to be too passive in your back leg. You can still be rooting down in the top of your back foot. You can even root down so much that your knee kind of comes off the mat. So you really are keeping the legs strong, so they're supporting your hips. And even though we are kind of folding and releasing into the hips, you still want to keep that sensation of lifting. So you still want to stay active in the muscles. And we're just going to be here for 3 more exhales. So see if you can use that Ujjayi breath. See if you can relax your jaw, relax your forehead, breathe. One more big exhale. Great, and then slowly coming on to the hands. From here, we're just gonna shift the weight back onto the back leg and straighten out the front leg. And we're just going to heel toe the right foot all the way over to the left side of the mat. And we're gonna come into our pigeon pose from here. So you can place your hands in front of the right shin, bend that knee so it comes behind the right wrist. And unfolding into your version of pigeon pose. So you can stay lifted, just keeping an eye on your back leg that it stays in line with the hip. And keeping that length in the spine as you come forward. And just noticing how this is feeling. Noticing any resistance in the hips, any tendency to bring the muscles closer together and kind of just resist this stretch. Notice if your jaw is being loud, if your shoulders are being loud. We can, the hips and our jaw and the shoulders are all energetically connected. So the more you soften the jaw, the more you'll be able to soften the shoulders, the more you'll be able to soften the hips. Just being really patient with yourself in this unfolding. Finding a sense of stillness. Finding a space where the breath is slow, where the stomach is soft, and your body fully surrendering and accepting this position that you are in just for another few moments of your life. Remembering that this is temporary, this will be over before you know it. So fully enjoying it while you're here. And then really slowly you can begin to come onto the forearms, onto the hands. Being very slow and gentle with yourself. You can tuck your back toes and just scooch that knee in a few times and come back into a three-legged table or down dog if you want, and just shake out that leg. Right. Great. When you're ready, we will go through that same little sequence on the other side. So you could be in your table or your down dog, and we're just going to use the core to bring your left knee in toward the chest and see if you can really slowly with control place it outside of the hand. You can always use your hand to help it there. Just trying out that challenge. You can adjust your back leg just by tucking the toes under and extending the leg, and same thing on this side, just getting into your version of lizard, honoring where your body is on this side compared to the other. And making sure to stay active in the legs so we're not overstretching in the hips. And rooting down in the top of your back foot is really helpful for that, to just kind of ensure that you're not overstretching too much. So it can be very easy to do that in this pose. And just noticing how it feels on this side, noticing how your jaw and your face are responding, noticing how your breath is responding. And relaxing the mouth, relaxing the forehead, letting the breath be audible in your ujjayi breath, creating that heat within the body, keeping that energy within you for 3 more breaths. And 1 more exhale. And then slowly coming back onto the hands, shifting the weight to your back leg as you straighten out the left, and gradually heel-toeing that over to the right, making your way into pigeon on the other side. Again, just honoring wherever or however your body's showing up on this side. And then using this time to be curious and scan your body and just take inventory of where there is tension and where there is unnecessary tension, releasing that. So maybe first focusing on your hips or whatever area is the loudest in this pose. And just challenging yourself or becoming curious of what it would feel like to sit fully in the sensations going on in your hips rather than distracting and running away and trying to focus other places. And just ask yourself what is what is the tendency to run away from, and that discomfort, and just reminding yourself that being present and sitting through discomfort is a catalyst for growth. So just communicating this to your hips, communicating this to your shoulders, communicating the sense of release to your jaw, to your forehead, and finding that area of stillness About 3 more big breaths here. Awesome. And then I'll really slowly begin to come off the mat onto the forearms, onto the hands. And yeah, tuck the back toes under. You can scooch that knee up. And we can come back into a 3-legged dog or table. Just shake out that leg. Great. And then coming into your table, you can take a child's pose here. You can stay in the down dog, just whatever you need to reset, and just find that area of some stillness and soften the entire body beneath it. And maybe feel the pulsing of your forehead. You feel the pulsing of your ears, of your heartbeat. Great. And then when you're ready, you can reach the arms forward if they're not there. Activate your child's pose by pressing the hands into the ground. And just pull yourself forward slightly. We're just going to cross the ankles over each other and then walk the hands back to sit down. So you're in a cross-legged position. I love that. So then we'll come onto your mat. You can just face whatever way is comfortable. We're going to do a few more hip things before we fully release. So I'm going to come into shoelace. So what you'll do, well, I'll give the option for a half shoelace. So you can extend your right leg forward and then cross your left leg over the right leg and just kind of heel toe your left foot so that it's going more off to the right. And you can keep it so that your ankle is somewhat in line with the knee and that the shin is somewhat parallel to the side edge of the mat. And this can be your half shoelace. You can stay here. You can fold forward from here. So you're getting a little stretch on the hip and the hamstring. And then the other option is to kind of bring the foot a little bit closer toward your hip and then bend your bottom leg so it's mirroring the top leg and your knees are stacked on top of each other. And I like to do this by grabbing my feet and kind of like pressing into them and lifting up and just making sure both sit bones are on the ground. And there might be like a lot of distance between the knees, maybe not so much, but just whatever feels like the most effective or like what you want to do today. And you can stay lifted with the hands on the feet or the hips or wherever they want to be. And you can stay tall. And then at any point you can keep that length in the spine as you just hinge forward slightly, and that will deepen the stretch. And maybe just relaxing the head fully. I'm going to be here for 7 deep breaths. And just allow your body to unfold over that time. And you'll start to notice different waves of tension. So you might be fully surrendering into the pose for the first few breaths. And then the more you surrender, the more layers of tension you will start to notice. So just continuing to soften beneath. You soften one layer, breathe, and then soften beneath that layer and breathe. Allow your face to be completely soft, your shoulders. That will be really helpful. You just want to release any areas of unnecessary tension because that is all energy that does not need to be used right now. There's no need for the face to be tight. There's no need for the shoulders to be tight. It's not helping anything. We're just allowing it to be exactly as it is for another 3 breaths. Great. And then slowly you can start to come back up, rising the spine up gently, slowly. And we're going to do a really fun transition. So hopefully it's simple. But you're just going to bring your hands to your right. And then you're just going to walk your hands back behind you in a circle. And you'll naturally stand up on the feet. Don't move the feet from where they are. You're just going to untangle the legs and keep walking in a circle. Naturally pivot on the feet and come back down to your seat. And you'll notice you've switched sides. Yay. How fun is that? So now the opposite leg should be on top. And we'll do shoelace on the other side. So you can get situated. You can hold on to the feet and kind of lift up for a second and just make sure that both of your sit bones are firm on the ground. And you can naturally unfold into this side as you did on the other side. And again, just being curious about the relationship between the jaw and the hips and the shoulders. And just starting to recognize in your own body how softening one of these areas will be helpful to soften the other areas. And just allowing yourself to find that moment of stillness, even if it's just for a split second, where you are fully in this pose, where you allow your body and your muscles to be fully in this pose without any sense of resisting. And just know that even just a moment of feeling that acceptance, of feeling that stillness, is so beneficial to you, to your emotional well-being, to your physical body and your hips, especially since some of our deepest seated emotions are stored in the hips. So you can trust that it is natural for things to come up either during this practice or sometime later this day or later tonight, for like random emotions to pop up either in like laughter or crying or just all the different ways it could show up. And just know that this is a release. This is a deep emotional release. And you got to feel it to heal it. So just not fighting any feelings that come up, not fighting any emotions that come up, and just allowing yourself to feel them. And just know that that is all that is being asked of you. There's no solution that's being asked of you. There's nothing you have to do. It's just simply to look, to feel, to accept. And that is all. Take 3 more breaths, finding that place of stillness. Right. And then very slowly, we'll start to unwind from this pose. And this time we'll just bring the hands back behind you so you lean back and just really slowly straighten out the legs. And maybe windshield wipering a few times, maybe shaking them out, or just being gentle as you get used to being out of the shoelace. And from here, we will start to come down onto our backs. So if you want a little extra core work before we rest, you can do so really slowly, reaching the fingertips forward and giving yourself that challenge, or you can just flop down or roll down. And when you arrive, just take a few moments to do whatever you want to do. So you can bring the soles of the feet to the mat and as wide as the mat, and tuck your tailbone under so that you feel your lower back flat against the mat, and do some windshield wipers from here. You could also hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. You could do both of those things. Just adjusting to being on your back and paying close paying close attention to what exactly is making contact with the mat as your body shifts around. And just allowing whatever is making contact with the mat to be fully held and to release fully into the mat. And that will just make the massage a little bit deeper. And we'll do some torso twists to finish up. So you can bring the knees to center, you can bend the feet, and we'll just shift the hips off to the left side of your mat. And there's some different options. So you can let both of your knees fall off to the right with them stacked on top of each other. You can cross your left leg over the right into twisted root. You can extend your right bottom leg and just have the left leg cross over. You can try out what feels the best. And then just bring your gaze to look over the left fingertips. And as you're here, you can fully relax the outside of the right hip. You can fully relax the right shoulder. And then with your foundation relaxed and softened against the mat, you can start to soften your left shoulder so it becomes heavy toward the mat, and soften the left knee, and that becomes heavy the opposite direction. And then paying attention to the space in between the left fingertips, the left shoulder, and the outside of your left knee. And softening your stomach completely, softening the face completely, softening the feet and the hands completely, and just noticing this wringing out of the spine that you're doing, this wringing out of the organs. 2 more exhales. And then we'll slowly start to bring your head back to center, followed by the knees, followed by the hips. And just pause for a moment in the center. Just notice the difference. And then when you're ready, you can make your way to the other side. So the hips will shift off to the right, and just whatever version of the stretch you did on the other side. So either the knees are stacked, twisted root, or the bottom leg extended. Or if there's a different version that you like, of course, you can take that. And just bringing the gaze over the right fingertips. And as you arrive into the pose on this side, just paying attention again to the foundation, paying attention to what's touching the mat and softening that. So soften the outside of your left hip, soften the left shoulder, soften the glutes, and then soften the right shoulder down toward the mat. Soften the right knee. Feel them actively releasing in opposite directions. Allow your stomach muscles to surrender and be soft. Allow the face, the hands, the feet to all surrender and be soft. And just feeling that space from the right fingertips through the shoulder, through the outside of the right knee. For about 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, gently guide your head back to center, followed by the knees, followed by the hips. And just taking a moment to observe the body, to find that center. And then whenever you can take a few more windshield wipers if you'd like to reset. And then whenever you're ready, you can hug the knees in toward the chest. And you can reach the feet up toward the ceiling and shake them out and let them hang out there. You can focus on the legs first and then the arms, or you can just put the arms up right away. And it's fully releasing the limbs. It's allowing them to rest in the sockets. And also pay attention to your torso and to what's making contact with the mat. And allow your organs to settle into place. Allow your back body to be heavy against the mat. And allow the hands and feet to grow a little warm and tingly with this change in blood flow. And you can stay here a little longer if you'd like, or at any point you can come into your happy baby, grabbing what's available and opening the hips up toward the ceiling, maybe rocking, maybe taking turns straightening each leg, maybe straightening both legs. Just channeling your own inner happy baby. And if there's any other little pose or thing you want to do to make your practice feel complete, feel free to do so now. And whenever you are ready, you can release into your final resting pose. And just feeling your body fully surrender into the mat. Trusting that you have done everything that was required of you. You showed up. You've completed this practice, and now is the time for rest. The most important pose in our practice is Shavasana. This is the pose where all the other poses that we practice today and their benefits are able to soak into the body, soak into your nervous system, your subconscious. So just allow yourself to feel these healing benefits swimming throughout your body and fully softening all the muscles to allow that. Even allowing your brain to rest toward the back of the body. Allowing your forehead to expand. The jaw to be heavy. And just seeing the shape that your body is in. This 5-pointed star shape with both legs, both arms, and the head all extending from your torso. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat in your forehead, in the crown of your head. Feel your heartbeat in your throat center. Feel your heartbeat in the palms of your hands. Feel the beating of your stomach. Feel the pulsing of your lower stomach. Feel the pulsing of the roots of your spine. And feel the pulse continuing down the length and the weight of your legs and the pulsing of your feet and your 10 toes. And allow yourself to rest in this total body awareness. If you would like to stay longer in your Shavasana, please feel free to do so. And if you're starting to feel ready to slowly come out of this, you can allow my voice to guide you. So first, just noticing how slow your breath is, and then noticing how bringing awareness to the breath will automatically deepen it. And then you can consciously call air into the body. And feel yourself filling up the most you filled up so far today with air from every corner and edge of your body. Letting go of things that don't serve you as you exhale. Maybe starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes and rock the head side to side. And take a big morning stretch when you'd like. And in your own time, make your way to your fetal position. And as you're ready, really slowly making your way up to your seat. And we'll meet with hands at heart center to close. Let's take this moment to deeply thank yourself for showing up today. And bowing your head, may this practice continue to heal you through the rest of your day and weekend. And may you bring the same love and light into everything that you do and to everyone that you see. Namaste. Yay.